Last point I want to make about that is that, while a lot of you might be, again, sitting here thinking, well, I can do similar things by, ragging some content into a foundation model, or maybe I can, upload a few, additional brand assets and we'll get something that looks more like the core brand content. The key point here is that it's not just about the tuning of the model or the pipeline that you build to create the content. It's also about the quality of the content you input into the process. And so what we found is that in the cases where we work with clients that have a very, very crisp brand definition, a very accurate way of describing what the brand's personality is, tone of voice is, etc., we get much better results than when that is diffuse. And it's obvious, but not always practically the case. All right. One other application of Brains I just want to show you, which is a far more narrow application, but actually something that's very exciting for us, is in the area of e-commerce. And for those of you who work in commerce, you'll know what a PDP is. Everyone else will not know. A PDP is ground zero for e-commerce conversion. It's a product detail page, and they look something like this normally. This is just a random Amazon PDP for Milka, where you've navigated through search into this page where you can now buy the product. And this page is overwhelmingly the largest reason why people either buy or not buy products. Okay? Now, over the years of analyzing what happens in these pages, we've realized that the number one driver of conversion on PDPs is whether the copy, the content that's on this PDP addresses the shopper barriers. Not the key claims of the product, not the benefits of the product or the differentiators, the shopper barriers. Shopper barriers are reasons why you don't buy the product. It's too big. I don't know how to customize it. It's too expensive, whatever the case might be. And so what we do is, and again, this is sort of a factorial problem. If you have tens of thousands of SKUs across 20 or 30 different e-commerce platforms, e-retailers per market across 50 markets, you've got millions of pages of content to generate. And people simply don't do it. They write it once, they forget about it, they don't really understand if they optimize, and they don't quite know why they get the results they get. So what we built is effectively a system that firstly ingests the product detail, so the actual attributes and claims and names of the product, the tone of voice, the way the brand wants to talk about their product. We combine that with a crawl of all the shopper barriers that we get from the reviews on the websites. So we look at all the customer reviews on a continuous basis, and we write new copy to address those shopper barriers. And then we add it to our knowledge of how the channels perform. And so combining those three things together, we've now been able to give clients a contractual 25% increase within the first 3 months on their baseline conversion. In reality, we're getting 40 to 50%, but this is already very significant. And so you can see how, all we're doing here is we're effectively using AI to augment a human content creation process. But across the complexity and the scale and the amount of data that we're having to work with here, you can't execute things like this without AI. All right. Now, let's talk about content, the really fun stuff. The way we look at content in marketing and advertising is really that generative AI provides us with a huge number of different use cases, going from the very pragmatic and maybe less exciting ideation and editing, so creating new ideas, creating sample or concept images, to far more complex scaled adaptation solutions, curated AI content production, and then fully integrated content supply chain. And I'll explain each of these as we go through them, so you know what I mean. So firstly, on ideation and concepting, similar to the Lowe's speaker who spoke earlier this morning, about a year ago, we set up a WPP Creative Studio, which is our own generative AI sandbox, where we started connecting into multiple third-party foundation models and even SDKs. In this case, you see Bria as an example on this image editing app here. But then overlaying that with a whole set of functional tools that we use in marketing, for operations, for strategy, for content creation. And we have more than 50,000 monthly active users in WPP already on this platform. And so what happens here is that we now have a tool where people can augment their day-to-day work. They can summarize documents, they can come up with ideas, they can brainstorm, they can quickly go from an idea to a concept in order to show clients or colleagues what they mean, and then you can go forward from there. Now, I have to stress, this is not for finished production quality content. This is for ideation and concept